You know, I've played a lot of games in my life. Some good, some bad. All from different franchises. But I feel that some games have good games in a good franchise, and some games have bad games in a bad franchise, and some games have good bad franchises and bad good franchises. Now, what does all that really mean? Nothing. But the point is, I'm going to be taking through my top 10. My top 10 bad games from good franchises. Stick with me, people. Because trust me, we're in for a long list. And number 10 is Crash: Wrath of Cortex. Now, during this time, Crash was no longer under the label of Naughty Dog and was picked up by Traveller's Tales. With this being said, Crash is being put into the hands of new owners after already having a set formula and full character development. For the most part, Crash was already a game that people had become accustomed to. Now seeing it being handed off to a completely different developer, it would be interesting to see how things would go. It's such a darn shame to see a good game get tossed over from developer to developer like that. Also, I'm wearing a hat and a different shirt, so I filmed this on a different day. And for the most part, things didn't go too well. Now, overall, Wrath of Cortex isn't a horrible game, but it had big expectations, being a new Crash game on a new console, being made by a new developer. Yeah, good luck with that. The problem that this game stems from is more of the same. There is no real new elements being added to the game. Also, there seems to be a lack of consistency throughout certain areas, and levels not carrying on certain themes. Rather, they are simply making levels in the cookie cutter signature. However, even with all that being said, with Crash: Wrath of Cortex, there's still fun to be had, but it's just a disappointment in comparison to the other games, and better ones have been made. Tekken. Classic fighter that has over the years become legendary. So beautiful to see something great in gaming. So how does this happen? Tekken 6. By its title, you can clearly tell this is the 6th installment in this series. Already you can see the problem there. Now, aside from that, Tekken 6 has a system that doesn't feel complete. For example, the combo system feels very flawed and inconsistent. Now, how do I know this? When playing Tekken Revolution, a free-to-play game on PSN, mind you, has a way better and more fluid combo system that works so well that I can't stop playing the game. And now, I'll admit to you, I'm not like a hardcore fighter game person, but I can tell you when a combo system is flawed. And this right here is a flawed combo system. I mean, it's like there's pauses and stuff between my hits. Problem: story mode. Now, I love Tekken Force. It was my favorite part of Tekken 3 and 4. So why don't I like the story mode in Tekken 6? Not only is it a weird combo system that's employed in the game, it's a lack of direction and focus that lies in the game. For example, before beating the game, you already have every character unlocked in arcade mode. Sure, you can unlock characters for the story, but the desire to do so isn't there, and it's very easy to get bored of the game, very quick. Overall, it leaves for a lackluster, bland experience, which before, it wasn't exactly seen in other Tekken games. Except maybe 4, but I mean, I like that game, so you can't fault that one. Okay, for the most part, movie license games are usually hit or miss. More often than not, they're a miss. However, one pretty decent string of movie license game were the original Spider-Man games. The first one was a step in the right direction of something new, and 2 was a fantastic and fun experience. Then we get to this game, and man is it disappointing. Spider-Man 2 had created a great open world experience full of fun side missions, fun acrobatics and web swinging, not to mention cool moves and combos that can be purchased from comic book stores. Now naturally the thought was, wow, Spider-Man 2 is so much fun, Spider-Man 3 will be jaw-dropping and even better. And the short answer to that is no. No, it's not. Now there were cool things employed, such as the black suit, which is a blessing and a curse. I feel some kind of change going on in me. I'm better now. You use me for 75 if not 95% of the game now. Why? Well, I'll tell you. Black Suit is amazing because it's super powerful and so much fun to use, which also lies the problem. This renders the powers of normal Spider-Man as irrelevant. Not to mention the powers of the Black Suit is limited, if you can call it that really. But the point is that you become so used to playing as the Black Spider-Man that you wouldn't want to use regular Spider-Man, and of course you eventually lose the suit and you're just kind of left with the feeling of, well, this sucks. Not only this, but let's go back to talking about the combos and web swinging. The combos suck in this game. In all honesty, after a while, I stuck to using certain moves simply because they worked. It didn't make me want to experiment and try new move sets, and the web swinging and acrobatics simply do not live up to the greatness of 2. In all honesty, I don't know if it was a fluke that 2 was so much fun, but man, you can clearly tell the same love and care was not put into 3. Mainly what this game suffers from is disappointment, its comparison to its very fun predecessor. Therefore, it can't survive as well on its own. Now you want to talk about disappointment? Here's some disappointment for you. Grand Theft Auto 4. Man, I'm sure people were very excited for this when they first heard about it. Since San Andreas was such a great game, people were naturally expecting a Grand Theft Auto for the next generation to be amazing. And man, was this game not amazing. Seriously, it's like the people at Rockstar were thinking, okay, how can we make a game that just depresses you and makes you completely uninterested? And then they produced this horribleness. Now, let's start from the bottom up. And by that I mean, let's talk about how much I can't stand the main character, Niko Bellic. Now, never have I met a more uninteresting character. Not even Claude from Grand Theft Auto 3, and he doesn't even talk. I feel honestly Niko is everyone's lapdog and doesn't truly know what he wants. Everyone just says, hey, you want to do this, Niko? And he's like, okay, cool. But I'll save that longer rant for another day. Now let's continue on the art design of this game. It is so bad. I understand that it's supposed to be New York, but man, the art design of this game truly depressed me. And the more I played, the more and more I got tired of playing it. Things look so uninteresting that it made it very difficult to continue playing the game, not to mention the driving in that game. Now, innovation, that's cool and all, you know, trying new things, I get that. But the driving in GTA 4 was not the right route to take. Not for this game. An arcade style of driving is perfect for GTA, nothing else. But the driving was so bad in this game that I almost never drove anywhere. I used a taxi every single time that I could because driving, a main staple in the game, became a chore and it was so tedious to drive to mission. The only reason that this game has any relevance now is because of the various mods on PC. If it weren't for that, this game would probably be forgotten in time because it's trash. Now, remember the problems I told you Crash Bandicoot suffered from earlier in this list? Now, imagine all these problems multiplied by 1,000. Obviously an exaggeration, but my point still stands. Now, the game on trial here is Spyro Into the Dragonfly. Now, this was Spyro's big transition to the PlayStation 2, a new generation. But this was also the time that they were being handed over to a new developer. You already know what can happen when you switch developers. Insomniac no longer working on this project, instead the developers would be Check 6 Games. And obviously that's a big problem, because this is the only game they ever developed, and it received no love from the gaming community. You want to complain about Skylanders? Snitch, please! This game is leagues worse than that. Although, I'll never really get over how they made him look. But that's besides the point. Let's get down to the actual game. Most problems stem from the fact that this game is broken. Now, it's not as broken as... I mean, seriously, there are various moments in this game where I thought, hey, this idea seems cool, but everything seems presented in an uninteresting manner. I mean, the main point of the game is to collect dragonflies with bubbles. Yeah, I can't make this up to you people. When such a simple premise, the game gets old very fast. Mainly because it becomes a collection quest, and not done in a good way. See, games like Banjo-Kazooie and the original Jak and Daxter had a formula that made it enjoyable to collect items. Now it just feels like a chore, not only to mention that you have to collect these dragonflies to open new levels, makes it even worse. Honestly, I could go for days why this game is horrible, but this is top 10 list, not a review, so let's move on. I'm gonna cut it for right here, folks. Honestly, you can see how well this list is going. Check back in for part 2. It'll be up sometime this week. And hopefully I'll be able to finish through this horrible barrage of games. I'm Doja Now You Know. Thanks for watching. You guys are awesome.